Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to go through the third and final part of that Champions League deep dive. Our group stage opponents have been analysed, we've spoken great depth about them, and today it's the turn of Feyenoord Rotterdam. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated on the road to 41,000 subscribers as we try and get towards 50,000 subscribers, the big next step. So if you haven't, please make sure to do that. It would be much appreciated. It's arrived, it's here in all of its glory, the brand new special edition Celtic 120th anniversary of the Hoops 4th kit extravaganza. It's gorgeous. Genuinely the most perfect Celtic kit that we have seen in recent times. I generally could go my whole life now just being happy with this one top. You know, this should just be Celtic's home shirt from now until the end of the Adidas partnership, whenever that may be. But yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Who managed to get their hands on it? I hope you did, because it's too good to miss out on. But today we're going to do that third and final part, as I said, of the Champions League deep dive. If you've missed them already, we've done Lazio, we've done Atletico Madrid. It's now the turn today of Feyenoord, the Dutch champions, and one of the most anticipated group games in recent times in the Champions League. Aside from that, today we've not really had any more news. There's nothing massive that's broken for us to talk about. If you do want to catch up with all the latest, then I went live last night to talk about the Liel Abada injury and such. You can go and check that out. But I'm not going to rehash that today. Instead, I'm just going to throw us right into this deep dive. So I hope you all enjoy, and I'm very excited for this Champions League group stage. So let's get this last part done. And finally, we move on to our good friends, you could say, Feyenoord, who are the final team to talk about, and the side, of course, from pot 1, the Dutch champions who play out of that great stadium, the Kuip in Rotterdam, the 47,500 seater stadium, one of the absolute best in the whole of Europe, one of my favourites in Europe, dying to go to it, and Celtic will have the chance to go to it this season in the Champions League. And what is probably the game that we all anticipate the most, the pair of games, I should say, that we anticipate the most. Of course, last season, Feyenoord done really, really well. They ended up winning the Eredivisie, finishing top of the table, taking home that trophy, and really making a mark, because Arne Slot, the man who's in charge right now, the manager, was of course linked with that Tottenham Hotspur job. He knocked it back. If it wasn't for him knocking that job back, who knows? Ange Postecoglou may have still been at Celtic right now, but instead he remained at Feyenoord. He's wanting to stay there and build that project as they look to go and retain the Eredivisie. They have been brilliant. I remember being in Eindhoven in January, and that weekend they were playing Ajax, and we watched it in the pub. They were really, really good. They were fun to watch, and that's exactly what we should be looking forward to when we play them. Two very fun, two very exciting games. Both respective champions of quite similar footballing nations. You know, we've got Ajax and Feyenoord and PSV, of course, at the top of their game, really run by those three sides. And then Celtic and Rangers at the top of the Scottish pyramid. It's quite similar in that sense. So, yeah, of course, both sets of supporters share a good relationship with each other as well. It should overall be a great game for football purposes, atmosphere purposes, one that we all look forward to. Last year as well, we can't ignore the fact that they made it to the quarter-finals of the Europa League, and the year prior to that, they made it to the final of the first ever Conference League competition, which is obviously much better than what Celtic have done in Europe over the past 20 years. So for as much as we're saying it's a side that we should be looking to maybe beat and compete with the most, this is a side who know how to do it in Europe as well. They were unlucky the last couple of years not to take home some European silverware, especially in that Conference League. So yeah, they know how to get the job done. They've been very, very good at it, and we should maybe take some lessons. Completely forgot to mention the fact that we've only faced Feyenoord once in our history in a competitive fixture, and it was that 1970 European Cup final where they beat us in extra time. So a chance for revenge some 50 years on. Also a team that just has really good players throughout the squad when you look at it. Some recognisable names, of course. Some less recognisable, as it is the Eredivisie. We don't really watch it week in, week out, or hear about it week in, week out. But guys like Bijlo, who's a great keeper. They've got guys like Quinton Timber, who's young, who's been really highly rated. I think they've got that Santiago Jimenez as well. a few really good players throughout the Feyenoord squad. I'm actually looking at it right now, and when you look at it, you know, the squad value, for example, is much higher than Celtic. So yeah, some good players all throughout. They've got players just all through that team that make it very difficult. Some good young players. They've brought in Calvin Stengs as well from Nice. Yeah, that's a tricky team, and maybe not as easy as what some people are making out, but there is no denying that it was the best possible tie that we could have got out of pot 1. Their start to this season has been, you know, okay, decent. They're unbeaten, 4 games in, 2 wins, but 2 draws, which will probably disappoint the Feyenoord fans the most. I think one of their draws was actually against Sparta Rotterdam in that Rotterdam derby. But yeah, they've started the season unbeaten, and they've scored plenty of goals, and amongst that, 13 goals in 4 games. It's the most in the Eredivisie so far this season as they sit 4th. But yeah, they'll be looking to go on and do well in the Champions League this year. I think it's the first time they've been in the Champions League for 3 or 4 years as well. So they'll want to come back with a bang, and they'll look at Celtic the exact way that we look at them, the one that they want to try and get points off of to give themselves the best chance of progressing to European football after Christmas. So it's going to be really exciting. In terms of summer transfer business, Feyenoord have actually been very active in the summer window that's just closed. They've spent more money than both Lazio and Atletico Madrid, which, when you consider the fact that Atletico and Lazio are 2 of the top sides in top 5 leagues, the second best team in Italy currently, the third best team in Spain, yet Feyenoord have spent more money. That really goes to show the kind of animal that you're playing with here. It's not one that we should take lightly. 36 million euros spent in the summer window with some very smart signings all round. Calvin Stengs, which we've already brought up, a good signing towards the end of the window. 6 million euros spent there. One that's been talked about quite a bit, and one that's been very exciting, is Ayase Ueda, the Japanese forward who came in from Cercle Bruges for 9 million euros. And obviously money that you can see just spent on a few different players to really upgrade that squad. But 37 million even they have spent. They spent more than they sold. So they've been very active in this transfer window and looking to improve that side, ready for a Champions League battle. In terms of the way out, they made some big money, and that's why they've been able to spend a lot of money. Brought in 25 million euros from Benfica for Orkun Kökçü, who I am glad that he won't be playing against Celtic. He was very, very good and rightfully got his move to Benfica at such a young age. And obviously one of the big talking points was Danilo, who's moved to Rangers, of course. That move to Rangers that's not really worked out thus far, but no denying that he was a talent for Feyenoord last season and before that. So he's not there anymore. They brought in money for him. And yeah, so they've been very busy, obviously, as well. A name that you might recognise, if I can just find it in amongst here. You've probably seen it before me. There it is, Ofer Marciano. If you remember, the former Hibs goalkeeper, he left the side this window to head back to Israel. So yeah, a couple of familiar names that you'll recognise, ones that you won't recognise as much in around here as well, but good money spent, and they'll be fancying their squad more than ours, which, for the money they have spent, is probably fair enough. What we do have to talk about, though, is the big news at Feyenoord right now, as they kind of face a similar injury crisis to what Celtic are facing right now. The only difference being ours is a defensive crisis. Feyenoord's is an attacking crisis. They are not in a good position right now heading into this Celtic game next Tuesday, which, you know, happy for us. Great news, fantastic. But, of course, a moment ago we spoke about Ayase Ueda, who has been brought in for 9 million euros, who's been very excitable and someone that they're all looking forward to seeing. He's out. He was brought off against Germany the other night in their massive win in Deutschland, in Germany. He went off. He's injured. There's no exact date given yet to how long that he might be out, but the realistic possibility is that by next Tuesday, he's not going to be fit, which means that he'll be out for that game. Alongside that, Santiago Jimenez, the very highly rated Feyenoord striker, he's suspended for the first 2 Champions League group stage games. He will not be eligible to play against Celtic. He is out as well. So, in terms of forwards, Feyenoord's options are running a little bit thin. Calvin Stengs, according to the record, if you read here, Calvin Stengs is the only fit and available forward for when they welcome Celtic. Now, the thing is, Calvin Stengs is still a very good, very young, talented player who can probably cause a lot of damage to Celtic. But in terms of depth and trying to run them thin, that's good for us, especially with our thin backline at the minute. So that's very welcome news. And alongside that, it doesn't end there, because not just injury problems and suspension problems for Feyenoord heading into this game next week. At the back, they do have problems. Bijlo, the very highly rated keeper that we've also mentioned, he's out. He's got a broken wrist. He's not going to be playing against Celtic. He's not due back till the end of October, so he'll be fit for the leg at Parkhead come December time, but he won't be playing next Tuesday, which I welcome quite a bit, because I know he's a really good goalkeeper, one of the best young keepers in Europe actually, and he's out with his broken wrist. And one of their other best players as well, Gertrudia, he's out. So there is a lot of injuries through that side. Gertrudia, we've got obviously Ueda as well, and Bijlo, suspension for Jimenez. It puts Celtic in a decent enough position. If you look here, there's a kind of, without Ueda being put into it, there's a kind of better look at what we're seeing. Defensive, goalkeeper and forwards, all first team picks as well, out for the game. So listen, it's news that I welcome. Of course, Feyenoord are the team who we play first and last in this group stage. We will take them on very, very soon. So before they play us on the 19th of September, they will be taking on Heerenveen at home. So a game they will favour their chances in. And then we head to the Coupe. And then we don't face them right until the end of this group stage. 13th of December, we'll take them on in Celtic Park, which, who knows, might be a very important game for both sides to try and progress. Before that, they take on FC Volendam, who obviously have Xavier Buyamba, who are linked with all window. But yeah, two sides that they'll be looking to win against. I feel like we're in the same boat as well, where we'll be looking to win all of our domestic games. So quite similar positions. So finally, expectations. It's the game which everybody has their hopes highest for, and I say that with all due respect to Feyenoord, who are a great team and arguably a better team than Celtic. So it's not going to be easy, absolutely not. But this is the team that everybody wanted from pot one. You want a Feyenoord. You don't want Real Madrid weren't even in pot one. You don't want Man City. You don't want Bayern Munich. You want the easiest tie you can get. So as difficult as a game it will be, it certainly is the one we have the best chance in. So that makes a change for Celtic, because usually we're part of the giants in terms of financial power and such. Feyenoord are one of the biggest clubs in European football, absolutely, but they don't have that financial backing that a Man City or a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich does. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these games. Should be very exciting, and it'll be. I mean, there's been a few Feyenoord fans from Rotterdam already in my comments section saying they're looking forward to it, and I look forward to playing there. So there we go. We've done it. We've went through all three opponents. We've analysed each side, and we've looked into what should be a very exciting Champions League group stage for the 2023-24 campaign. One which I hope has a far more positive outcome than what we've seen in years gone by. But we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless, buzzing for it to get started, buzzing to see how we do, and hopefully full of some really good memories. So yeah, if you've enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. We'll be back in the channel all week, and I'll see you all next time.